much for stopping by. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. It will really mean a lot to me. Okay, so in this tutorial you are going to learn how to draft this beautiful blazer. Can you see how beautiful this blazer is? That is what you are going to be learning in this tutorial, only if you watch till the end. So it's very advisable for you to watch till the end so that you won't miss any tip, any tricks. Okay, you won't miss any information. All right guys, see you in the tutorial. Hello guys, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. This will really mean a lot to me. In this video, we'll be learning how to draft a beautiful blazer pattern. And the tools you'll be needing is your tracing wheel, your pencil, your paper tape rule, curve ruler, scissors, pin, straight ruler, eraser. You know I work with pencil so that if there is any mistake I can easily clean it up. Alright, and we also need a fresh paper, white paper. Okay, yeah, let's get started. So you can see that what I have here is my full scale basic bodice. Okay, and I have a tutorial where I teach how to draft a full scale bodice. So if you've not watched that tutorial on how to draft a full scale bodice, so you should consider doing so, because this is what we are going to be using to draft this blazer. Okay, so I want you to understand that what makes up a blazer is the reveal collar and the lapel. Okay, and for us to draft this reveal collar and lapel into this pattern, you have to get your fresh paper, and we are going to join the fresh paper from this side. Okay, so that it will enable us to create our lapel and our reveal collar. Okay, so just get a fresh pattern paper. Okay, so you get a fresh pattern paper, and you are going to put it inside and make sure that you have space at least 3 inches. Okay, and at this upper part you are going to make sure that you have space of at least 4 inches. Okay, when you are good with that, you are going to use your paper tape to secure it down. Okay, so I have added the paper just like I showed you, and I have up to 3 inches from this point, and I have up to 4.5 inches from this point, so it's cool. So make sure you have paper here and here for the reveal collar creation and for the lapel creation. Okay, yeah. So the next thing you are going to determine is the length of your blazer. So like that blazer you viewed, the blazer is long. Okay, it's longer than the hip line. Some blazers stop at the hip line. If you want yours to be that way, you can stop at the hip line. But if you want your blazer to extend the hip line, you can just come at this point and extend it by how many inches you desire. Okay, so I'm just going to extend this one by 5.5 inches so that it's going to be long. So just mark the 5.5 inches and you are going to connect it like I'm doing. Okay, and you also go at the back and you extend it by 5.5. okay, so this full scale bodice I'm working, I've already added seam allowance at the side. Okay, so when I trace it, I won't be adding seam allowance at the side. So I've extended it to the length I desire. So the next thing you are going to do is to create your lapel. Okay, so the standard measurement for a lapel is usually 2 inches, and that is what I'm going to mark from this point. Okay, I'm just going to extend this line by 2 inches, but if you want your lapel more bigger, you can extend it, but 2 inches is the standard measurement. So I'm going to mark 2 inches from this point, and I will square it up like so. So once I square it up, the next thing I'm going to mark is the button allowance. Okay, some people, the basic for button allowance is 1. Okay, so you come at your waistline or wherever you want your button to be, maybe 1 inch above the waistline. You can also mark 1 inch above the waistline. You can use that place as where you want to add your button, but I normally use my waistline. So from the waistline, I will come out by 1 inch. This 1 inch is going to serve as my button allowance. So once I mark it, I'm going to connect a line from this point to this point. And I will connect everything to wherever it touches, this line I'm working with. So you can see it. I love working with pencil so that if there's any mistake, I can easily clean it. Okay, so you guys should pardon me. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create the reveal collar. So we've created the lapel. This is the lapel. Okay, so for us to create the reveal collar, you can see this point. I'm just going to mark the center like so. I'm just going to get the angle 90, angle 45 of this point. You can see that we have angle 90 here already. So I'm just going to get half of it. So my pattern master makes it easier for me. I'm just going to get my angle 90. So you are basically marking a line from this point, just like I did here. So when you mark this line, the next thing you are going to do is to come at this point. Okay, and what you are going to do is to measure your neckline, your back neckline. Okay, you know this reveal collar is going to sit at the back neckline, so you have to measure what you have at the back neckline. Okay, so I have 3.375 at my back neckline, so I'm going to come at this point and measure 3.375 upward. Okay, so once I measure it, I'm going to square it. Okay, so the standard measurement for this is usually 3.5, but it's advisable for you to measure whatever you have on your back neckline. Use it on this line. Okay, put it in on this line so that your reveal collar can sit well. Okay, so after that, the width of this reveal collar is going to be 3.5. This is standard. Okay, so once you measure 3.5, you are going to square it up like so. Okay, so once you square it up, you are going to get your curve ruler and connect this point to this point. Okay, just use your slight curve. It should not be too curved. Okay, okay, so once you connect it, so you can see that this collar is kind of straight and the collar should not be that straight. So we are just going to do some adjustment to it. Come to this point, you are going to go up by 3.75. okay, and you connect it back to this line so that it won't be looking too straight. Okay, and we are coming to this point we are coming out by 3.75. okay, we are connecting it back to this line. You can see how I connect it. Okay, and that way we have our reveal collar. So we have our lapel and we have our reveal collar. Okay, so this is the process of creating the lapel and the reveal collar. Very simple and easy. I know you understand this. My tutorial is always simple and easy. So after sewing some blazer, you will notice that some reveal and lapel collar are too wide. Okay, so if you want to correct that, all you have to do is to do some adjustments and make both of them closer. So what I'm going to do is to come to this point and I will go up by 1 inch, then I will square it like so. So once I square it, I'm going to connect it back to this point. You can see that way the lapel and the reveal collar is more closer now. So if I want it more closer, I'm going to extend the lapel by ½ inch. Okay, I'll extend this by ½ inch and I'll connect it back to this point. Okay, so you can see that way it's closer. So these are some of the useful techniques you use while sewing. Okay, so after we are done getting our reveal and lapel collar successfully, the next thing now is to trace this out. Can you see? It's very now for the back. What we are going to do is to get the center of the shoulder line. So I have 448 here. The center should be 2.25, and I'm going to connect this line to this line. This will enable us to trace it. Okay, this will enable us to trace it while tracing it. Okay, and I'm going to extend this line down, and for the front I'm still going to extend the dart line. Okay, so the front is going to be 2-piece and the back is going to be 2-piece when you trace it out. I hope you understand, and that is why I have to divide it. Okay, that is why I have to make these adjustments I made. Okay, so now for you to trace it, for you to trace the front, we are starting off with the front. We are going to get a fresh paper and put it under, and you are going to trace your lapel. Okay, we are going to trace from this point all the way. So when you trace it, you are going to add 0.5 inches seam allowance all round. If you've been watching my tutorial, you know that I love tracing. I don't like cutting out my pattern because I'm going to use the pattern for subsequent tutorials. Okay, so if you've been following up my tutorials, you will know that I love tracing, and you would have been used with to it by now. So add your paper under and you trace the reveal collar, and we are going to add 0.5 inches seam allowance all round. Okay, and I also want you to know that when you trace the reveal collar, always notch this point where the reveal collar stop at the neckline. Is going to be useful. Okay, so these are some of the useful tips you have to note so that you can sew perfectly well. Okay, yeah, then the next one is to trace the center front. Okay, and here is the side front. And for you to trace the center front, you can see that we have opening here already, and this opening cuts through the center of this shoulder. So you are going to start from this opening. Okay, and you are going to trace from here all the way here, all the way here, then all the way here, all the way here, all the way, and you are stopping here. That is for the center front. So the center front, is together with the lapel. Okay, I hope you understand. If you don't understand, always drop your questions on the comment section. I will attend to that. All right, so for the side front, you are going to trace from this point. You are also going to I forgot to tell you something. For the side front, you are going to close this side bust dart. Okay, yeah, because if you don't close the side bust dart, the side seam of the center front and center back is not going to be aligned. Okay, they are not going to be equal. So it's very important you always remember to close your side bust dart before you trace the side front. Okay, so you are going to close your side bust dart and you put a fresh paper under. You are going to start from here. You trace all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. So once you trace it, you are going to add 0.5 inch seam allowance at the armhole, at the shoulder seam, at the inseam. Okay, yeah, and at the hemline. So at the side, if you added 1 inch seam allowance like I did, you don't have to add again. Okay, so when you trace your side your center front, remember to add 0.5 inch seam allowance at the shoulder seam, at the neckline, at the lapel. Okay, and also at the inseam where you are joining. Always remember. Okay, yeah, so this is all about the side front. The back, this is the center back, you understand. So you put in your paper and you make sure you add your zipper allowance. Even though we are not putting a zip allowance, you always add that 1 inch. You are going to sew it back. Okay, it's very important for the seam line you normally see at the back of the blazer. Okay, so once you do that, you are going to trace from this point to this point and the center line all the way down. So once you trace it, you add 0.5 inch seam allowance all round. Then you add 1 inch at the center back. We are not putting zip, but you should add it. You are going to join it back. Okay, to give us that center seam line. So for the side back, you are also going to trace from this point all the way to the armhole, to the side, all the way around. So once you trace it, you add 0.5 inch seam allowance at the shoulder line, armhole line, at the inseam for joining it back, and at the hemline. Then at the side, if you've added 1 inch like I did, you don't need to do that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and trace this, and I'll be back to show you guys the outcome of what I traced. So guys, I have traced this out and you can see the outcome of what I traced. You can see the center front and you can see the reveal collar. I've also traced it. You can see how it's looking, how it's sitting pretty on the neckline of my pattern. So you see the points where I marked. You should always mark it, the point where the reveal collar stopped at the center front. So you should always mark that point on your reveal collar and also on your center front. Is very important. Okay, so you can see the center back and you can see that I've also added the 1 inch at the center back. We are going to join it back together to give us that beautiful seam line that you always see at the back of a blazer. Okay, so you should go ahead and do that unless you don't want a seam line at the back of your blazer. So guys, we have come to the end of this drafting process. If you would want me to put up a tutorial on how to make this beautiful blazer, I want to see you guys comment yes. Okay, so the amount of yes I saw on my comment section will make me determine if people really want to see the sewing process or if they don't need it. Okay, all right guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you've not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. This will really mean a lot to me. I will see you in the next one. Bye.